Welcome back to episode 3 of our OSRS investment fund series, where we are growing a cash stack with both long-term and short-term flips to eventually give back the profit to our viewers. Now, this is episode 3, so if you want to get caught up with the series, be sure to start with episode 1, as it goes over the entire plan for this series, and will be helpful to set you on track for the rest of the episodes. Anyway, we ended the last episode with a 23 mil profit, bringing our cash stack to around 146 million GP. The goal for today is to find another long-term investment while also continuing to active flip and pushing our cash stack towards that 200 mil mark. We're back at the Grand Exchange, and all of our Adamant darts and Mithril darts sold. They have been an absolute staple in this series so far, and they've just been such a good flip for us. So we're going to leave our current offer in for the Mithril darts as well. The Ruby Bolt tips are continuing to sell at 94 GP, albeit a little bit slowly. We're going to start with a round of active flips, as I will be logged off for the next week. What I want to focus on is those flips that have been working really well actively for us. Things like the proselyte flips, bolt rack flips as well, maybe some ancient essence too if the price looks okay, and all of those classic flips that have been doing wonders for us. We have our flips for the next week listed. There is one item here that I have no idea if it's going to work or not, and that is the Guam seeds. Now, the Guam seeds have a pretty low volume, but the margin on them looks super stable, and it looks like it's even going to be 6 to 7 GP on that. You can take a look here at the graph. Clearly does not look bad at all from a tunnel standpoint and a profit margin standpoint, but the only issue here is going to be volume. It looks really low, but keep in mind these are active / passive flips, so if they do take a couple days to sell off, it is not a huge deal. Anyway, we will see how this goes. We're back after another week, and a lot of items here have started to buy, and we even finished buying all of the broad bolts here for 53 GP each. We're going to turn around and sell these for 56 GP each, giving us a 3 GP profit for every single broad bolt. The price is currently sitting in the 52 to 53 GP range for the broad bolts, so this actually might take a little bit longer to sell compared to some of our other items. The only item we're not going to sell yet is the black d'hide chaps. I think if we leave these a little bit longer, we'll be able to buy more. Another interesting item here is the Guam seeds. They were selling yesterday for 18 GP each, so I think we're going to be able to sell them for this price, but keep in mind that these have a buy limit of 200 every 4 hours, and the volume on them is not very large, so it might take some time to sell off 15,000 of these. Although if we do, we are looking at a pretty good profit of about 145k, which is a significant profit considering how much we invested in these at a total of 130k, which is over a 100% ROI on our flip. One other quick adjustment we're going to make as well is on the Ruby Bolt tips. Now, we were able to sell more of these for 94 GP each, but I really don't feel like they're going to come back up to that range anytime soon. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to buy more Ruby Bolt tips for 83 GP each. They have been bouncing at an extremely low price over the past week. And as you can see on the graph here, I think buying them for a price of around 83 to 84 GP each is pretty realistic for the next couple of days, looking to sell them back for around 86 to 87 GP each, and while it's not a huge profit, it is going to rake back some of those gains on the Ruby Bolt tips, which will make our overall buy price a lot lower. Let's leave that where it is for a couple of days. We'll come back and see just how much profit we've made. And I am logging on for the first time in about a month, but I'm happy to see that everything here besides the adamant darts have sold, and we have some extremely large profits here. 3.1 mil on flipping the black d'hide chaps. That is insane. We actually got a 130% ROI on those. We also made 2.5 mil on the buckets of sand, which is crazy, and about 2.5 mil as well on the bolt racks. In total, we made about 12.4 mil. And one thing I thought was interesting is we actually were able to flip the Guam seeds without too much trouble, although they only made us 150k in profit, but we did get a 125% ROI on those. As far as the adamant darts go, most of them bought for 20 or 21 GP each, and we did sell a few of them off, but they're really just not working out for us. Trying to sell them for 25 GP, but currently are sitting at about 20 to 21 GP still. Now, I don't know exactly what to do here. We might buy more for cheaper than 20 GP, maybe like 19 GP or so, and try to flip our way out of this. It wouldn't be a huge deal if we had to sell for break even as well, but I'd prefer not to do that. It is such an awesome feeling just to see our cash stack start to snowball up like this. We're going to list another round of passive flips. I do want to make an investment at this point, but with Volamore 2 weeks on the horizon, I really think the overall economy is pumped up right now, and I sort of missed out on that investment window, so I'm not going to try and chase a profit there. Of course, I will keep my eye out for other investments, but I think it's just safer to focus on the active management right now instead of trying to get those long-term investments put in place when the market is this high. Here are the flips listed for the upcoming week. Now, I actually decided to go a little bit riskier than I typically would. Of course, the broad bolts, bolt racks, bucket of sands, and black d'hide chaps are going to be a locked-in profit, but I decided to try and flip the Revenant Ether, Amethyst Arrows, and Sapphires. Now, the reason I'm looking at these is right now, all of the graphs are looking pretty good. They look like they're bottoming out in a price pool right now, so I'm going to try and sell these back, hopefully have some luck buying up a large quantity, and play the trade on the upswing. But of course, this is going to be a little bit riskier than we typically would be doing with this amount of cash. The reason I want to take up that risk right now is because we don't really have a long-term investment to pump our money into, so why not try and get a little bit riskier to make a little bit more profit with our active flips. I'll keep a close eye on these over the coming week and make any adjustments that are necessary. Alright, lots of updates to go around here. It's been a couple more days and we sold off a ton of items. Every single item here made us a monster profit, even the sapphire rings, which we'll get to in a minute. The black d'hide chaps came in at a 480k profit, but the amethyst arrows absolutely smacked the Grand Exchange. 3.2 mil in profit on these bad boys. That is insane. This is from all passive flipping, by the way, which is crazy. Buckets of sand made us 700k, which I was impressed with myself. It's a 6 mil total profit, 8% ROI on all of our invested items, and we haven't even sold off the broad bolts yet, which are going to go for a nice 8 GP margin there. We're going to list them for 54 GP each and let them sell off. But let me tell you about the sapphire rings, which was originally meant to be an investment, but I think we're going to liquidate them right now as they're currently selling for 445 GP each, which is going to be a very nice flip for every single ring here, considering we have 130,000 of them. I decided to buy these because with the release of the Varlamore update, I bought a ton of sapphire rings in anticipation that we'd actually have a Prime Gaming event come to the game. Now, if you're not sure what Prime Gaming is, every couple of months, Jagex releases an event where they give you a 7-day free membership, which tends to bring a lot of bots into the game. Because I saw this on the horizon and I noticed that sapphire rings were really cheap, I suspected that some bots would come into the game, decide to enchant these sapphire rings to make them rings of recoil, and net from the profit that can be generated that way. Does kind of look like that theory might be playing out, although I do not believe that the 7-day membership was released on the Valamore update day. Anyway, enough chatting. We're going to consider this one of our investment profits though, and we'll sell it back for 445 GP each. Before we relist all of our items, I just wanted to point out the adamant darts, which are not selling for our 25 GP profit mark. That one is an item that I really don't want to lose on, so I'm going to invest another additional 10 mil in buying them up for 18 GP each. That way we can come out of this flip and a net profit. Currently on our profit tracker, we're up 4.1 mil total on the adamant darts alone. So I just really want to make a profit overall on these, and I don't want to sell them for a loss. We're going to double down and buy some more adamant darts. It's so satisfying making this profit and just reinvesting it into more of the same kind of flips. Just so nice to see that cash stack scale as we go. And at the end of this episode, I'm going to do a recap of how much we've made off our passive flips versus our investment flips. Again, we have all of our flips listed. The passive account is just generating so much profit, and I honestly barely pay attention to this account. That's why I'm like, every time I record a clip, I come in and say, hey, it's been, a week or a couple days. It's just because these flips are so passive, I don't even pay attention. Anyway, we have a lot of stuff listed here, a lot of the classics that we have been flipping a lot, but back to some of our fun ones, like the Dwarf Cannon set. This one's a really easy flip and generates a consistent profit because the price is so tied to the Dwarf Cannon vendor, so it just makes it a really easy flip to move on the market, but everything else looks familiar. Let's let this sit for a couple days and we'll be back to check on how many of these items have bought. It has been 4 days and we are back on the account. A couple of items have bought so far. We're really just going to do the same exact thing and sell everything that has bought back. But the sapphire rings are continuing to sell right now. We've actually made 2.7 mil so far on these. So I do expect to end around a 3.5 mil profit, which is pretty solid considering this flip has only taken about a week or so. And we are going to count it as one of our investments. We were able to sell the broad bolts too, sold them for 13.5 mil total, and bought them for 11.1 mil, I believe. So about a 2.5 mil profit. That was a really solid flip. Reinvesting all of our cash back into our flips. It's just crazy how much money you can make flipping these tax-free items over a weekly time frame. And honestly, it is so easy to do. I highly recommend you take advantage of it. Anyway, though, we do have some more adamant darts buying. I really want to get out of this flip at this point. We've sunk so much money into these adamant darts, and honestly, I just want to be profitable on them at this point, which I think we will be. We're just going to have to wait maybe another week or so to buy a few more adamant darts at 18 GP each, looking to sell them around 21 to 22 GP each. If we can do that, we're going to break even on the 387,000 that we do have, and we'll profit from the additional 300,000 that we have currently bought on the exchange. Another successful week of passive flips has been complete. We made a total of 4 mil across all of these items, and we still have some adamant darts and mithril darts, and actually broad bolts to sell. But we made 1.4 mil on the black d'hide chaps, closely followed by the bolt racks at 1.3 mil. Besides that, we just made a bunch of profit all around. And I did want to report on the sapphire rings, which sold as well. Now, this took us 2 weeks to complete from start to finish. We bought all of them for around 400 G each, and we sold all of them off for 445 GP each. We got a 33 GP margin on them, an 8% ROI, and a total profit of 4.3 mil. So we're going to count that as one of our investments so far in the series. This is all really great from a profit standpoint. So what I'm going to do is collect all of our items that have sold off. We're going to turn around all of our items that are continuing to buy, and we'll sell those. Basically, what I want to do right now is get all of our cash back into our cash stack and see how much we've made so far since the beginning of the series, and actually do a breakdown of how much we've made from active flipping versus our investments. And our final clip before the recap, we were able to sell off the mithril darts and the broad bolts for about a 900k profit total, 800k on the mithril darts and 100k on the broad bolts. But we also sold off all of our adamant darts, 962,000 of these sold onto the Grand Exchange for 22 GP each. I know we're profitable on those, but I don't know exactly how much we've made, so we'll have to check in the final recap. Alright, our cash stack currently sits at 169.4 million GP, which means our investment fund to date has made 69.4 mil, which is some huge gains considering we're only passive flipping and doing some investments on this account. To break this down a little bit further, we have made 15 mil on investments alone. On our investment to uncut sapphires, we made 9.1 mil. Our investment in sapphire rings made us 4.3 mil. Our investments in blue party hats made us 805k, and our party hat set investment made us 1.4 mil. So all in total, about 15 mil, or 20% of our total cash stack has been made from investments. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. If you did, please drop a like. It really does help me out a lot. And I'll see you guys all in the next episode.